you very much. All good questions, by the way. Very engaged. You have a very engaged listenership.
Thank you, sir.
That's true. So the first question from my brother, the barrister, on SMEs. It's a very good question, and I thank you for that question. I'm glad you asked it because it's one of the central pillars, actually, of our own of our approach to governance and what we're saying to negotiate. You see, if you look at a city like Lagos, any commercial center like Lagos, the engine for many such centers, or almost all such centers, is small and medium scale businesses.
Yes.
Why is that? Because these are the businesses, and they proliferate all over the city that employ 1, 2, 3, 4 people, right? And this is where the bulk of the jobs are created. Government cannot employ all these people. So, what we need to do as a government is support these businesses. First of all, to encourage people to start these businesses, and then when they start them, to support them to see that the businesses can stand on their feet, right? We should not, as a first step, be looking for how to go and harass them with several agencies of government asking for this, asking for that. Yes, it is important that people follow the rules, but our objective should be that people should be supported to stand up, employ people, because that solves the problem for government, it solves the problem for the society, it helps to
widen the tax bracket,
this era of prosperity and so on, and ultimately everybody benefits. And people themselves, when they become profitable, and the government is working for them, you will not have to be chasing them after with a stick to pay their taxes, actually. Right?
Because they'll feel a burden of debt from the duty of care.
I have seen societies, and I have worked in those societies, where people come to people to say, let me help you reduce your taxes, you can organize it this way, organize it, not illegal,
no,
legal, but they say, you know what, I believe in what the government is doing, I want to pay my fair share, I don't need that. What is the reason why people will do that? Because they are convinced in their hearts that the government is working in their interest. Now, we are not there yet, but we can get there by the actions of government. So SME policy, very central. Is something that we're going to pursue and do everything in our power to ensure that those businesses are encouraged to start, people are encouraged to start them, and that those businesses do well. One area that's related to this, and I'll quickly link it to the education question, so that I'll take those two questions quickly.
Okay, sir.
In education, what are the things that we think are needed? I think it is clear to all that the standards have dropped dramatically in our educational sector, perhaps over decades. When we look at the quality of the students that we produce from our educational system today and compare them to perhaps 40 years ago, we see that there's a marked difference. What do we think is needed? First, we think that curriculum, we need to review the curriculum in the schools to ensure that the curriculum is suited to the modern society in which we live. We think that there's an issue of teachers. We need to understand the quality of the teachers that we have. We have many good teachers in the public schools, but we also know that in that system we have a few bad eggs. And a few bad eggs actually can do a lot of damage in a school system.
Yes.
So we need to understand that and fix it. Then we need to assess even where we are today. So there are things that you do, there are tests that are done to assess where your students are in the global and in comparison to global educational systems. There are scholastic aptitude tests and things that you can do just so that we know. When we produce somebody from JSS 3, how is that person in terms of education in relation to somebody who is produced from a similar grade in Vietnam, from a similar grade in Singapore? Let's understand, because we are in a global context, right? So these are some of the things in education. Then to relate it to the SMEs and the jobs, we think there's a lot more to do in vocational education, providing vocational options in addition to these traditional options. Because not everybody will get a desk job, or is suited to a desk job, or even wants a desk job, or is even a desire in that direction. Some people want to work with their hands, and they are gifted to work with their hands. And we have to give them the tools and train them so that they also can see that as a way of them becoming employers of labor, because they can use that to establish small businesses. We teach them some of the principles surrounding that, And then that also ties into the SME part of things. So that way you are building a robustness,
an integrated system,
so that people have different options and can pursue them.